Firefighters around New England are urging people to take proper precautions to protect yourself from carbon monoxide poisoning. This week, a Rhode Island college student died during the nor'easter after snow blocked the tailpipe of the car he was sitting in. There have also been CO-related incidents reported throughout the winter in New Hampshire, including a life-threatening response at a home in Plymouth last week. Manchester Fire Marshal Mitchell Cady joining us now in studio. Mitch, thank you for being here. Could you start with some of the symptoms and signs of carbon monoxide poisoning that people should be watching out for?
Yeah, absolutely. As with anything, carbon monoxide poisoning, we take that very seriously. Nausea, headaches, disorientation, loss of coordination, those can be some late-term signs of chronic carbon monoxide exposure that we want to make sure that can be easily preventable and avoidable.
On Christmas of 2024, a horrific situation. 4 people died from carbon monoxide poisoning. That was in Wakefield, and carbon monoxide fumes are produced in things that people use to keep warm: fireplaces, furnaces, portable generators as well. What are some precautions that people can take to keep themselves and their loved ones safe?
So obviously carbon monoxide comes from any fuel producing or any fuel burning appliance that's not burning as efficiently as it can be. So things to keep in mind: make sure that you're using your portable generators outside of the home, not in a garage, not under a deck or patio. Make sure that your furnaces and your heating appliances are being serviced regularly to make sure that they're vented properly, to make sure that that gas, the exhaust gas and the fuel gas that's coming out of them, is going where it needs to go. Things as simple as shoveling out your vent pipes for your furnaces and your heat producing appliances to make sure that the carbon monoxide doesn't get built up through accumulations of snow and so on and so forth. But again, it's just kind of common sense. Make sure that your fuel burning appliances are serviced, they're being maintained, you're not using them indoors, and all these things can be fairly avoidable.
And Mitch, through your many years of experience, what are some of the most avoidable things you've seen people do or not do that could leave them vulnerable to carbon monoxide poisoning?
Again, just things as simple as not using fuel burning appliances inappropriately. So again, leaving cars running in the garage, using generators, lawnmowers inside attached garages, under decks, patios, next to open windows, things like that that are going to produce carbon monoxide as that natural byproduct of combustion. Get into the house, get into the areas where people are living, sleeping, and people can be relatively quickly overcome by that gas if it's not properly detected.
Manchester Fire Marshal Mitchell Cady, thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome. Much appreciated.